So guys, amidst Wike being seen with an almost paralyzed arm, videos about Wike have been popping up. I'm going to allow you to take a look at what Deji once said about Wike. Just take a look at this video.
There is a reason for all this crisis, and that reason is the control of the resources of Rivers State. Rivers State resources belong to you, and we will make sure that that resources is applied judiciously for the betterment of Rivers State.
But ours is a nation where Wike is building mansions for judges. This is a man who has been severally accused of trying to put judges in his front pocket. Same Wike has his cousin in INEC as an INEC commissioner. It was that guy that just conducted a Edo election. That is the country where you believe that elections will be free and fair. Or that when they are not free and fair, that you can get some recourse in the courts. We joke too much in this country. Ours is a country where we do the same thing over and over again, but we expect different results. It will never happen. You see, my big sister and leader in the struggle has just finished speaking before me. And she put the word rightly, that how can we talk about judicial independence when even the procedure for recruitment for judicial officers is already corrupted? No politically exposed person should be a judge. No politically exposed person should be a judge. No politically exposed person should be in INEC. 85% of people in INEC today, they are politicians. Look at the woman we took to court. I took Professor Rufus to court. She's an APC card-carrying member in Bayelsa. APC card-carrying, me and her, we are still in court. And she was appointed an INEC National Commissioner. Look at Wike's cousin. He's a National Commissioner in INEC. Wike's wife is a judge of the Court of Appeal. Politically exposed persons should not go anywhere near our judiciary. Politically exposed persons should not go anywhere near EFCC. The reason why you see some of these things happening today, where EFCC wants to carry out an operation and the Abelo already has a hint before the operation happens, is because go and look at the recruitment process for EFCC. In the last 10 years, it's politicians, senators, House of Reps, they bring their children, their cousin, they bring a list. How can you have politically exposed persons, you want them to fight corruption? It can never happen. How can you have politically exposed persons in the judiciary? The wife of a known politician is a judge. The cousin of a known politician is in an institution that is supposed to be called Independent National Electoral Commission. Remove the word independent from there when you have politicians running the place. So you cannot expect any credible outcome from INEC. See, the locus classicus case of the Abiola's case, as to regards to even the insinuation of bias alone, once the right-thinking members of the society feel that the judiciary is biased, it's already one of the greatest indictments that can happen to the judiciary. And that is why the Supreme Court said in that case that whenever anyone is of the view that the court is biased, that the judges must recuse themselves. So a situation where before the electoral process starts, the process is already rigged, you cannot expect anything credible out of the process. I hate to say this, as of today, Tinubu runs PDP, and he runs Labour Party, and he runs NMPP, and he runs APC. What we currently have today is a one-party state. Because the national chairman of PDP reports to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The national chairman of Labour Party, Julius Aburi, reports to Tinubu. The national chairman of NNPP reports to Tinubu, and of course Ganduje reports to Tinubu. So it boils down to what my leader said before me, that it's about credibility. Ours is a nation where credibility means nothing, where people do not value integrity, where people think of stomach infrastructure before they think of character. Because if not, the only person that has even attempted or tried to bring some form of restoration in removing some of the moles of the APC in his political party is Peter Obi, who has tried to remove Aburi. Even the PDP cannot hold his neck. And it is Wike's men and the president's men that runs the PDP. The NNPP, they are not even pretending about it. It is the president's men that runs the NNPP. So, and how can you have credible elections without strong, credible political parties? It is when the political parties are strong, like we are currently seeing in the US, keenly contested elections. You can see the political party system structure in the US, very healthy, very independent. You can see that the Electoral Commission in the US is independent. You don't have political office holders, political party members being appointed into, the electoral system in the US, and that is what makes this institution strong. Again, most ironic is the issue about collecting of money, vote buying. The people that collected 10,000 naira in Edo, are they still having a good time? The INEC officials that were bribed with 10 million, 20 million, today, 20 million is the new 300K or 500K. Because no matter how much money for compromise you collect, it can never be enough. And that is why you see former governors who stole billions, 12 months down the line, they already look broke, wrecked. The money is cost. Corruption money is cost. I have never seen someone that stole government money that is doing well. I have never seen it. And they are never satisfied. They are always looking for more and more and more. So at a point we need to get to a situation, we need to get to a spot in this country where we tell ourselves, yes, that we have been bad enough as citizens, we have been bad enough as leaders, and that we want to make amends for all our bad deeds. Until we get to that level, I don't see this country sincerely moving forward. Again, the most heartbreaking of all our plights in this country is the allegations and counter-allegations of judicial compromise and corruption. Nothing breaks the heart more. The reason why our economy is bad is because of those allegations. There's no economy that can survive a nation where the judiciary is not truly independent. It is so sad that nobody is going to come and invest here if they are not sure that they can get judicial redress when businesses go wrong. Again, it's also very important to note that the idea that elections can be won. Elections can be won by campaign, by ideas. It's always very alien to me, because elections have never been won based on ideas or campaign here in recent history. What determines the outcome of election is just like how Dr. Sam rightly painted it one time, is the person who has the more capacity to commander the army, the police, INEC, and buy votes. How do we fix that irony that keeps happening every election, whether it's an off-cycle election, whether it's a general election? How do we fix that? That should be the primary concern of government. For me, the first step in fixing that is that this set of, and I am of the Shore school of thought that all this cosmetic 4-year election, it cannot change anything. That we must dismantle the corrupt entity called Nigeria. And that the only way to dismantle the corrupt entity called Nigeria is that we must start afresh. But any race that somebody is going into and they are tying load, for instance, a 100-meter dash, and they put, and all the athletes, only one of them has not been put load on his head. And only, because what happens is that the party in power puts load on the head of everybody that is contesting with. So there's no level playing field. So there is no way that such an outcome can be credible. So every time the party in power runs to the end of the track and is declared a winner, it's not a free and fair contest, because a level playing field has not been. So we need to dismantle the system to say everybody in INEC, they are all working for the ruling party. We can't have a credible election like that. Everybody in the security, go and look at it. In Edo, they were arresting a particular party's member. Local government by local government, they had a list. So they arrest people that they feel that will pose threats to them on election day. And do you know the funny thing? Charges were never brought against those people. They were released 2 days after election, when the aim has been achieved. And INEC is our greatest problem in this country. After INEC are the security agencies as regards to election. And I'll tell you why INEC is our greatest problem. Since 1999 till date, every election we have ever had in this country, people bought votes, people stole ballot boxes, documented on video, everything. People did electoral violence, all kinds, in thousands, from 1999 till date. That is about 25 years. Not one person has been put on trial by INEC. Not one person in 25 years has been prosecuted for electoral offenses in Nigeria. Not one. So, indeed, INEC is our number one problem. The security agencies and our law officers are our second problem. And listen, very simple. Charges can be brought against all the people that perpetrated electoral malpractice in Edo. But the reason why they will not bring charges against them is because INEC does not have the political will. The president will not do it. Our law officers will not do it. So it is until you do it that we can now hold the judiciary accountable and responsible that, oh, we have filed charges against them, the judiciary has set them free. So while we can cry and complain about judicial complicity in the ongoing problems in our country, the most culpable is INEC. Because, in fact, we had written to INEC that if you do not have intentions of prosecuting people in Edo, that we will assist you. We will help you prosecute, because we know for a fact that more than 100 people were arrested in Edo, but all of them have been released. Just like all the people that are going to be arrested in Ondo, Osun, and all the other elections. They will arrest them for camera showing on election day. And after that, they just set them free. So any nation where people do bad things and there's no repercussion, such a nation cannot develop. Whether it is electoral malpractice, whether it is crime simpliciter, whether it's misdemeanor, whether it's criminal offense, whatever it is that people commit crime. Because electoral crime is a crime. And it's a crime against the state. It's not a crime against a political party. It's a crime against the state. So the reason why there will always be vote buying is because people are buying votes, they arrest them and they release them. So why are you telling me that they should not buy votes in Ondo? Of course they will buy votes in Ondo. So in closing, what I will recommend in terms of recommendations is, number one, we must work towards a more independent judiciary, and a judiciary that is immune from executive, legislative, and individual interference. And that our judicial officers must be people who are immune from political interference of any sort. Secondly, we must have an electoral system, an electoral commission that is truly, truly independent, Independent in the sense that this commission must be immune from political interference of any sort, and these may require necessary amendments to our existing laws. Additionally, we must have a truly independent law enforcement systems that ensures swift prosecution of electoral offenders in our country. This is the only way that we can truly honor the memory of our late friend, brother, cousin, and confidant Deji Adeyanju, who led a life of service to his motherland, who left a selfless life towards promoting rule of law, towards promoting judicial independence, towards promoting electoral development in our country. And finally, we must have truly a political class who are willing to challenge the system, who are willing to do the work of opposition instead of having deals, striking deals, and having midnight meetings with people in government and compromising at the slightest opportunity. The PDP, Labour Party, NNPP must all come together, strive together as one indivisible opposition. They must stop splitting votes, because by doing so, they help the Bola Ahmed Tinubu rogue government. That if they are not united as one single whole, they will yet again work together for the re-emergence of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027, so that he can unleash more harm upon our country and upon the citizenry. That all political actors must come together to ensure that Nigeria is salvaged from this ruthless and heartless regime of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that if they do not do so, that they will wail for the next 4 years after this current term expires, and that they may think that election is all about popularity contest, as I believe, and I guess that many of them use elections as a way of fundraising. You know, but I am convinced that yes, they may not suffer as much as the people who are currently queuing to buy fuels at the petrol stations, but I'm convinced in my mind that they will face a greater repercussion of political persecution, because like we have seen, protesters are arrested for treason. Bola Ahmed Tinubu may become more brazen after he secures the second term, and he may even put some of them in jail. You know, so while they may be comfortable and rich, but they should not put it past Bola Ahmed Tinubu that he may even attempt a third term. So the best time for political actors to come together is now. Over a year ago, we were here, and we're having this same debate before the general elections. And Mike Igini was here, and others, and they were sounding so optimistic about the election. I was the only one who told them that the election would be rigged. I was the only one who told them that the beavers will not work. I was the only one who told them that electoral transmission of votes will not happen. I was the only one on this pulpit who said Tinubu will win. I was the only one.
So you are here first prophet?
Yes, that was what he accused me of that time. Yeah, myself and Igini, we took a bet. Igini was beating his chest that elections were going to be free and fair, this and that. He said that the beavers, in fact, his word was that his word was that the beavers is a game changer. And I laughed. I said, beavers will not change any game. And I referenced 2019 election when I was speaking, and I said, Buhari lost that election. But immediately results started coming in, and they discovered Buhari was losing. They stopped transmission, and they switched off the server. And INEC went to court to say that they don't have a server. Before the election, the INEC chairman told Nigerians that there was a server before the election. And I said, if history is anything to go by, the 2023 election is not going to be any different. And all the speakers here disagreed with me. I said, okay. I told them, I said, we are just a month and they're about to go. And I'll be proven right. And I've been proven right. I do not want to sound like a bad prophet, like a prophet of doom, like I always sound. like Dr. Sam accused me then, and I don't want him to accuse me of same today.
I'm a senior advocate of Nigeria. Let me say without any equivocation that there would not have been any need for a state of emergency to be declared in Rivers State. I live in Port Harcourt. I move around Port Harcourt. The state is peaceful and has remained so. So in the first place, there wouldn't have been any need to call for a state of emergency or to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State. In the first place, let me say that yes, a state of emergency can be declared in the Federation or any part thereof, going by the provisions of Section 305 of the Constitution. However, it does not warrant the suspension of the governor, deputy governor, and other democratic institutions. Don't forget that this is not the first time a sitting president is declaring of a state of emergency. Jonathan did the same. And no part of the ambit of the government was suspended. So it was unconstitutional for the president to overreach himself by declaring a state of emergency and suspending the governor, the deputy governor. Now, we have a sole administrator, a military sole administrator, so to speak. The sole administrator again is overreaching himself by dismantling the democratic institutions. Just this morning, he has gone ahead to appoint sole administrators of the local governments. He has gone ahead to appoint members of RESEC. These are unconstitutional actions being taken by the sole administrator, and which is not even covered by the Gazette. By the Gazette, wherein the powers and the duties of the sole administrator were circumscribed. In fact, Article 3 of that Gazette says, the state shall, for the duration of the emergency, the offices of the governor, deputy governor, and House of Assembly are hereby suspended. That was the only aspect of the governance that was suspended, no other than that. In fact, that was Article 3 says, the state shall for the duration be administered by the Vice Admiral Ibokete Ebas, retired, as administrator, who shall operate on the basis of such regulations that may from time to time be issued by me. In other words, he is not to take any action that is not covered by any regulation coming from the office of the president. As at today, we are not aware of that the president has issued any regulation mandating him to dismantle all democratic institutions and even appointing some others in their stead. So for me, his action is unconstitutional and does not portend well. Rivers State is a peaceful state, and he has even said so himself. I mean, the sole administrator. So all this that is doing, I do hope will not lead to a breakdown of law and order because we want peace in Rivers State. He came to Rivers State and saw that the place is a peaceful state, and we want to keep it so. Let his actions and the way he's carrying on not lead to a contrary situation. That is very, very true. The Constitution made no provision for the appointment of sole administratorship, and even the Supreme Court said so. And if you recall, when the governor came back, because of the pronouncement of the Supreme Court in the judgment that they delivered, now urged all the council chairmen, all the councillors, to please abide by the decision of the Supreme Court. And they all vacated their positions, and their positions were taken over by the most senior officers in the various local governments, in keeping with the decision of the Supreme Court. Now, what this portends, this appointment of sole administrator, is antithetical to the decision of the Supreme Court. It is antithetical to the provisions of the Constitution, and it does not portend well for democracy, it does not portend well for justice, it does not portend well for the good order of the state. And it is not too late for him to retrace the steps so that we can continue to enjoy the peace we are enjoying in this state. This state is peaceful, and we want to keep it so.
So, as someone living in the Union, so what would be your advice to him?
Well, you know, when I don't know the brief he has from the president, but the law is clear. He's overstepping his bounds. Even yesterday, the Federal High Court here, sitting in Port Harcourt, in suit number FHC-PS CH 46-2025, PLEX Center for Civic Education, against the sole administrator, issued an injunction restraining him from appointing caretaker sole administrators. But the sole administrator has, contrary even to the injunctive orders given by a court of competent jurisdiction, flouted the order of the court. And I think it is for him to respect the rule of law, to respect the decisions of the court, such that our country, our state, will be seen not to be a lawless country, not to be a lawless state, but a state governed by rule of law and order. Therefore, my advice to him, if we will listen, is for him to please retrace his step. Because even the National Assembly did not donate such powers to him. The National Assembly that approved the proclamation that was made by the president did not donate such powers to him. And I think it is high time the National Assembly as well should call him to order, such that they will be seen, the National Assembly will be seen as well as obeying and keeping to the rule of law and enforcing same, because they were the people who gave a stamp of authority to the proclamation made by the president. So it behoves on them, now that the sole administrator is going the way he's going, to call him to order, that is going beyond his bounds. So my advice to him is to please retrace his step. And for Rivers people, if I may say so, is to be peaceful and law-abiding, because
so guys,
we are in
Wike's situation is something that should concern Nigerians. I mean, people have equally been reacting. I think we have very good Nigerians. We have patriotic citizens. Many people have come out to caution Wike to just go relax, take good care of himself. So you still see that there are people who are actually, you know, wishing Wike well. Nigerians are asking him to go and sit down, relax, take care of his health, so that he does not end his life before the people he's even fighting for. And the funniest thing is that Wike is actually fighting for Tinubu to come back second time. After he did the first deal and it went in his favor, Wike is ready to put in anything to make sure Tinubu comes back in 2027 and that he himself gets his slot, you know. And that is what all this fight, you see, is all about. But Nigerians are urging Wike, Mr. Man, go and relax, so that you don't enjoy yourself. Just go and relax. I'm just wondering what Wike is still looking for. What is it that Wike needs now that Wike doesn't have? I'm just wondering if there's anything that Wike is looking for. This is a man, you know, who just finished his 8th tenure as the governor of Rivers State. He just concluded his tenure and he was promoted, you know, to become the FCT minister. Although he worked for it, you know, all the shenanigan work that he did during the last election, he got rewarded. Now he's the FCT minister. Wike has a lot of resources at his disposal. Don't forget that Wike is on life pension as a former governor. Tinubu is on life pension as a former governor. Wike now is an FCT minister. Possibly is going to be on life pension as an ex-minister, ex-FCT minister. And Tinubu himself is also on life salary as a former senator. Now, after Tinubu finished serving as a president, he's equally going to be on life, you know, salary or life pension as a former president of the country. The question remains, what else are these people looking for? And somebody like Tinubu, Lagos is like his real estate. He gets so much from Lagos. So you can imagine somebody who was an ex-governor, he still earns from that. He was an ex-senator, he still earns from that. His wife is currently an ex-senator, she still earns from that. Tinubu is now the president. The wife is now the first lady. Very soon when they leave office, they will still be earning from all this. Tell me what these people are still looking for. And for Wike, who spent 8 good years in Rivers State, Wike had a lot of resources at his disposal. There's nothing Wike wanted that he didn't have as a governor. You know, now he's in the FCT, the same opportunity all over him. Tell me, why won't Wike be grateful to God and just go and relax and have fun with his family and be nice to people? He came out, he was boasting, if he impeaches Fubara, what will happen? That tells you that Wike was actually out for Fubara. You know, now look at what is happening to him. Possibly Wike has not been sleeping, have not been eating well, have not been having fun. He just relies on giving people basbos. Don't even forget when he said he was going to set states on fire. Anybody that comes to interfere in the crisis of Rivers State, he's going to send a crisis in that person's state. So Wike talks fearlessly, but you can see that some of those things that he said are now coming back to hurt him. Like, you know, Wike was seen leaping with an almost paralyzed arm. Recently, he was also seen, you know, throwing his leg, meaning that one of his legs could not actually carry him. All these things are signs of stroke. possibly Wike is not happy. Let's just use it that way. Somebody who has a family, who has children, who has a wife, who is a judge. What else is Wike looking for? Wike has more. I don't know if Wike should be seen as the most richest politician at the moment. But guess what? Wike is not satisfied. And now this greed is pushing him to the point that Wike is almost losing his life. Looking at the way Wike is walking in this video that has been trending, you know that Wike is terribly sick. And once it gets to the point that somebody's hand is almost paralyzed, sometimes it's difficult to reverse it. That is why Wike must see it as a necessary step for him to go and relax, have fun, take good care of himself, just stay away from politics. The problem with our politicians is they never have enough. All the billions they collected as security votes, all the money that comes from the federation account monthly into their purse at state level, they can never spend that 8 years there and feel like they've had enough. No, they will still want to. That's why from being a governor, they want to go to Senate. From being a senator, they want to become ministers. From being a minister, they want to become this, they want to become that. They are never satisfied. And these are the kind of people we entrust the nation's treasury into their hands. Tell me why Nigeria will not be going backward when we don't have patriotic leaders that want to see this country move forward. So I think Wike has really had enough of all this. It's time for him to like caution himself and quit politics so that he can regain himself. I'm just wondering if Wike do listen to his wife. And if yes, that he does, why is the wife not talking to Wike? Why is the wife not cautioning Wike to the point that Wike's hands and legs are almost paralyzing and he's still coming to the public with it? So it's really so sad that we are at this point. Honestly, it's greed that leads people to actions like this, and I just hope that he will realizes his mistakes when it's not too late, because he can't be dying for the APC. Look at the APC leadership. Those in APC, they are chieftains, they are all chilling. Wike is only the one putting himself in the front line in the name of he wants to secure rivers for Tinubu come 2027. So anybody that stands his way, he's ready to end the person. And now see how it is now working against Wike. So guys, I don't know what you make of this video. Let me know your honest reaction about all these things happening in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.